really on that Tuesday, I wanted to play. And then it was, how is my body feeling? Is he going to be able to hold up? So at this point, as I sit here, I think since Friday, I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
Okay.
And I haven't been holding anything up at this point. It's been compensation that the Packers are trying to get for me and kind of digging their heels in. So I would just I think it is interesting at this point to step back and look at the whole picture. My side, love and appreciation, gratitude for everything that Green Bay has done for me. So much love and gratitude, and just heart open for the Packer fans and what it meant to be their quarterback. And also the reality of the situation, like it is what it is. The Packers would like to move on. They've let me know that in so many words. They've let other people know that in direct words. And because I still have that fire, and I want to play, and I would like to play in New York.
That, of course, being my live reaction to finding out, quite frankly, that Aaron Rodgers said he intends to play for the New York Jets. Hey, everybody, my name is Paul Heston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. We're streaming live simultaneously in 3 different places. The Heavy on Jets Facebook page, over 31,000 New York Jet fans. My YouTube channel, youtube.com/BoyGreen25, and on my Twitter account, @thejets_zone. Hopefully, more clarity on that at some point this week. But that's neither here nor there. Guys, that was my reaction to, of course, finding out that Aaron Rodgers said on the Pat McAfee show a week and a half ago and change, almost 2 weeks ago now, that he intends to play for the New York Jets. While we don't know the live reaction from Robert Saleh, because we weren't there with him and he wasn't on camera, what we do know is his reaction to hearing that news. Today, everybody, as we're recording this here on Sunday, March 26th, the NFL owners' meetings are taking place in Arizona. They run from March 26th through March 29th. This is a big date for a couple of reasons, but let's dive in immediately to the Robert Saleh comments. He was asked by Judy Batista of NFL Network about kind of the reaction, quite frankly, to finding out the Aaron Rodgers news. Here's the quote. You guys can see it on the screen here. This is from Judy Batista of NFL Network. Talk with Jets head coach Robert Saleh about Rodgers saying he intends to play for the Jets. Quote, 2 years ago when we first got there, just thinking about where we were and how far we've come, to have a guy like him want to play for us is pretty cool and shows how far we've come. Again, that's probably about as far as you can get when we're talking about potential tampering and things of that nature, because obviously Aaron Rodgers is not a member of the Jets yet. He is a member still of the Green Bay Packers, so there's only so much a guy like Robert Saleh can say, or Joe Douglas for that matter. But he's right, and I hope that is a moment, a nugget that all Jet fans that are watching right now, whether live or after the fact, can just put it in your pipe. Let it marinate on the stove for a little bit. Let it marinate on top. That Aaron Rodgers, one of the most talented quarterbacks of all time, and unquestionably one of, if not the best quarterback of this generation. You could throw him in there, obviously, with all the greats, Tom Brady's and everybody else in terms of his talent. He says, I want to play for the Jets. And what Robert Saleh just elicited there, because, again, it's a quote, not a video, but what he did suggest is, like, 2 years ago, there's no way Aaron Rodgers would have said, let me play for the Jets. The Jets are perceived as this kind of dumpster fire, just like no man's land. No one wants to play there. Free agents, we've seen articles where free agents said, yeah, I'll play for the Jets if you pay me 20% more. Like, those were articles that were written in the semi-recent past here. Now, we've got the New York Jets in a completely different position. We've talked about earlier today, there's a video out on my YouTube channel, talk about the comp picks the Jets are expected to get. And what that ultimately boils down to is other NFL teams signing the Jets free agents, so much so that the NFL will reward teams that lose a bunch of players. Nathan Shepard, Mike White, Dan Feeney, those kinds of players, okay, going to other locations opens up the door for the Jets to have a bunch of comp picks. So the fact of the matter is that is part of a new era for the Jets, that other teams want their players. Other teams' players want to come here. I mean, it's unbelievable, guys, and I hope you can truly appreciate that the way that Robert Saleh said it. Again, he can only go so far because right now Aaron Rodgers is still a part of the Green Bay Packers organization, and the latest chatter is that the New York Jets are quote-unquote lowballing Green Bay in these trade chats. that that's where they believe they're at, and now they're just kind of staring at each other from a couple of different vantage points. It's one of the longest staring contests in NFL history, quite frankly, and it feels even longer because we've been speculating about this for months. It's only been officially on the table in terms of trade discussion since right before the Super Bowl, according to the latest reporting that we're aware of. So eventually this is going to happen. This is what everyone says, that it will happen. It's just a matter of like, when is it going to? Again, it's not if, like, oh man, will it happen? Like, it will, but just when? That's a big question. Again, there are two pressure points to pay attention to. The one that started today, again, the NFL owners meetings. They start today on Sunday, March 26th and run through the 29th, which means that all the key players involved in this Aaron Rodgers trade, not named Aaron Rodgers, are going to be face-to-face. Joe Douglas, Brian Gutekunst, Mark Murphy, Joe Douglas, all these guys. Okay, I think I said Joe Douglas twice there, but the point is all the key decision makers are going to be staring across from each other. I think all of us know that when you're on the phone with somebody, it's easier like a scam call. I always like to bring up that example. If a scam call is calling, I can just go boop, ignore, no thanks, and there's nothing they can do unless I pick up the phone. I'm not even hearing from them. Even when you're on the phone with someone, it's easy to hang up. It's just a press of a button. Dude, screw you, pal. Okay, that's what can happen. If you go to the other side of the coin, when you're in person with someone and you don't like what they're saying, there's no hang up button. I guess you could walk away. Okay, I guess you could walk away, but there's no like, boop, hang up, I don't care what you're saying. Like, you're in front of each other. So peer pressure and like getting things done, the human to human, person to person contact can take over, and you guys can find a way to hammer out the deal. So there is a chance that this Aaron Rodgers trade gets finalized, gets done, gets over the goal line, whatever terminology you want to use this week, because the NFL owners meetings is underway as we speak. And that's where that quote came from Judy Battiste at the NFL owners meeting. So there's a chance. The pressure point number 2 is a month away. We're talking about, of course, the 2023 NFL draft. I see we have a question on that. Guys, if you're watching, by the way, a quick detour. If you're watching wherever you're watching the show, by the people, for the people. If you got questions, show them in the comment section, whether on Facebook or YouTube. On Twitter, you'll have to get into one of the other fields so I can see your question. But feel free to send those in, and we will answer those on the show. We're doing a couple of, like 20 more minutes here or something of that nature. So I'll try to answer as many questions as I can during that time frame. So you can like the video, hit subscribe down below. That's a free way all of you can contribute. If you'd like, the YouTube Super Chat feature is available on the old YouTube channel, and it is available if you're watching, and you can guarantee that your comment or question gets answered and read aloud, and I'll do a funny dance as well here on the program. But like I said, the other peer pressure point is the NFL draft in 2023 here, which is April 27th. It's a day after my 30th birthday. That will be the NFL draft. That's another pressure point for all of this because, again, Green Bay, for as much as they pound the table, Jordan Love is the next coming of God knows what. They're going to need picks, in theory, to build around Jordan Love and give him the best opportunity to succeed, because they just exercised his fifth-year option without really, or the plan is, from everything I hear, is to exercise that fifth-year option following the draft, and that will have him under contract here for both this season and next season. The expectation is they will accept that. So if they're going to, they've got a short window to prove that he is capable and warranting all that stuff. So 2 pressure points left. And then after that, all hell breaks loose, because then there's no real immediate pressure points outside of the Jet Zone offseason training activities, which technically begin, I believe it's like April 18th. But that's like kind of voluntary stuff. A lot of the stuff is voluntary, for that matter, until you get to mandatory minicamp. But the real pressure point is like the end of May. That's when you'd love to have Aaron Rodgers in there, because that's when you're going through your practice and stuff. The April 18th date is whatever. I mean, it'd be great to have him in yesterday, but those are the real pressure points in terms of dates we're talking about. There's the NFL owners meetings right now. There's the NFL draft at the end of April. And then the third one, which is its own, is the Jets going through their practices and things at the end of May. Those are the 3 big ones, and we'll see if these start to line up. Dakota J, welcome to the show. Appreciate you. Shen Run 018, Jet up, baby. Love it. Let's go to Dane here on our Facebook page. Do you think the trade, quote unquote, will be official on draft day? I mean, that would be, first off, I don't think we need draft day, as fun as it would be. And again, I love the movie Draft Day. I watch that every Thursday, every year in the first round in the draft earlier in the day. It's part of my tradition. So I love that movie. But the trade doesn't have to wait. There's no reason for it to wait outside of pressure points, I suppose. Like, that like, hey, we need to get this done. And to be honest, if I'm the Packers, I kind of want it done before then. And the reason why I say that is you want some time to prepare for whatever the pick is, whether it's 42, 43. Packers fans want 13. I don't think that's happening, but 13, whatever. Like the Packers would like time to prepare for whoever that pick will be. They probably don't want to find out Thursday, oh, snap, we've got the 13th overall pick. What the hell we got to use it on? So it behooves them to do this as soon as possible. They've already talked about Aaron Rodgers in the past tense. They're moving on to Jordan Love. You know, there's reasons to get this done as soon as possible so you can start to prepare for the next era, and so can the Jets, for that matter. So do I think it will be official on draft day? Yes. I think it will be done prior to draft day, quite frankly. I think in one of these pressure points of either the NFL owners meetings this week and then it leads into next week, or like 2 weeks ahead of the draft or something of that nature. Although, like I said, we're closing in. We are a month and a day from the 2023 NFL draft as I speak, live here on the show on Sunday, March 26th. So I think it will be done before that. Greg, still waiting like everybody else. Yeah, we all are. But again, I just know it's happening. So that's the part that makes me feel good that, like, I'm not worried it's not going to happen. I'm very in on that. Ty Rapp, let's go. Yes, sir. Shen, we got this, boy. Great. 100%. I feel great about it. Yeah, we got this. A lot of that going on. Rico the Pup, one of our loyal subscribers here on the channel. I don't really see it going beyond the draft. Packers aren't going to want to miss out on getting something in return this year. Getting only 2024 picks, well, he might be doing that for a new GM. That's for sure. That's 100% for sure. So again, I think there are pressure on all sides for that. So, but again, I don't think so. I can't see it, like you say, I can't see it going beyond the draft. I can't see it even reaching the draft. Again, I just feel like cooler heads prevail here. Like the Packers are drawing this impossible line in the sand, and they're comparing it to other veteran quarterback deals, but Aaron Rodgers is older than any of those guys. Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, Russell Wilson, like he's way older than any of those guys were. So to me, I just don't think, and again, the age, the open contemplation of retirement, coming off a rough year for Aaron Rodgers, which, by the way, would still be good for the Jets, but like all of those factors. And then like he's already come out on a show and said, I want to play for the Jets. The Packers on their side have already come out and said, man, we're going to Jordan Love, baby. Like it just, all of those reasons are why, like if there was a legitimate chance for Aaron Rodgers to return to Green Bay, like then maybe the Jets are fearful, like, oh, we got to get this done. But we know he's not going back to Green Bay. So it is this staring contest of sorts with this leverage word that's been getting thrown around. But like, we all know that he's going to the Jets. We just need to find out the why and all that. Ty Rapp, any Calais Campbell updates? Also, happy early birthday, Boy Green. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, here's the big one. We had the video over the weekend. Calais Campbell will be making an official visit to the New York Jets. Last week, he visited both the Atlanta Falcons, and that visit apparently went really well, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's go through a few. He had previously played for the Jaguars, but this would be a new regime with Doug Peterson, potentially. You go to the Falcons, I'm going to be honest. I don't mean to be insulting to potentially any Falcons fans watching in. I imagine at this stage of Calais Campbell's career, he wants a Super Bowl ring. He doesn't have one. He's got a lot of other accolades, Pro Bowls, All Pros, Walter Payton Man of the Year. Like there's a lot of things to like for Campbell's career. But if the missing Infinity Stone is the Super Bowl, I don't think Atlanta's high on my list. No offense. Even Jacksonville, bluntly, I don't think they're high on my list. And if I'm Calais, I've already been there. Now, the two other visits, he's visiting with the Jets this week and the Buffalo Bills. Now, okay, I could understand going to either team and saying, I think I got a chance at a chip. The thing that would be attractive for me if I'm Calais Campbell is I play next to Quinnen Williams. I'm 6'8", 307 pounds. Like I get to play next to Quinnen Williams. So there's number one. Number two, we talked about potentially playing with Aaron Rodgers, Super Bowl ring. Number three, Robert Saleh's defensive prowess and reputation precedes him. Players love playing for Robert Saleh. He's a player's coach, and also the numbers for the defensive lineman doing great things are also good. He has 99 sacks. He is set to get over the 100 sack mark with his next team. So the Campbell updates are that the Jets are going to host him for a visit, so are the Bills this week, for that matter. And it's such a big need for the Jets. I don't know the intricacies of the Bills' interior defensive line depth chart, candidly. So I don't know. Is it as much of a need as it is for the Jets? I know it's a huge need for the Jets. I can't speak to Buffalo to that same realm, but there would be a lot of opportunities, a lot of reps. So to me, and Calais Campbell is a guy I want, by the way. I've tried to make that as clear as possible. I want Campbell. He's massive. He's a freak. He's got a lot of talent. I think he'd be plug and play in this unit. And the leadership, Joe Douglas, the Ravens connections, it just makes too much sense. Laura, go Jets. Happy Sunday to you, Laura. Happy Sunday to you. Michael on YouTube, would you want to upgrade the offensive line? Yes, of course. A couple of things. First off, center, Connor McGovern technically is still a free agent, but it seems like from everything we're understanding, the Jets are not interested in a reunion. He was interested in returning to the Jets. Jets, not so much him. So no mutual interest there it seems. Although you never know. Maybe things get down the line. He's still a free agent. They're like, all right, let's run it back, baby, as a last second resort, but it doesn't seem that way. So center, they need an answer. They don't have a starting center on the roster. Dwayne Brown's back, so he's likely pegged to start at left tackle, although things can change in the draft. Laika Tomlinson's going to be back, so you have him. Center, we already mentioned, is an issue. Right guard, Elijah Tucker, coming back from the torn triceps. He should be good. And the right tackle right now is a battle between Mekhi Becton and Max Mitchell. So things I'd like to upgrade. I think the offensive line can be better and is better, quite frankly, than some of the fans who are going, oh, man, you can't get Aaron Rodgers with this crappy offensive line. The Jets were hit by one of the most historically crazy offensive line injuries to one positional unit that we've ever seen before in 2022 with so many players going IR. It was like 6 or 7 guys. So I think the Jets are like, well, we're going to get healthier next year. That's automatically an upgrade plus whatever we do. So center, I'd like to go day 2 of the draft. The Jets now have the 42nd and 43rd overall pick in the second round. John Michael Schmitz, of course, Luke Whippler, who has the Ohio State Jets connection. Though I would be going center. I don't think it's a lock. You have to go offensive tackle at 13. I think the Jets have some options there. They could do a couple of different things depending on how the board falls. In a couple of different respects. But yes, overall, to the generic question, would I upgrade the offensive line? Of course. Center, tackle depth, those kind of things. But they did a good job. It doesn't win headlines. We're not doing a headline YouTube video about it. But Schweitzer from Washington and Cologne, the former Ravens. So you add a little bit of interior depth from that perspective with some guys who are pretty versatile. That I like. Let's go back to Dane here. The only way the trade doesn't get finalized by the end of this week is if JD doesn't want to pay, which is very possible knowing the reputation he has establishing as our GM. Let's see if it doesn't get finalized, if he doesn't want to pay. Like, we all know he's going to pay, but again, where Woody Johnson comes in for that. Again, does Woody at some point, because the Packers don't have an owner. It's kind of an interesting point I heard on a recent podcast. So it's just, you're dealing with Brian Gutekunst and Mark Murphy. Like Woody Johnson, because the owner has, as we all know, the big red button under the desk. At any point, they could go nuclear, boop, and just hit the button and all hell breaks loose. Like, technically, the Packers don't have that with some overseer of the operation that's like, this has gone on enough, press the button. They have that with Woody, who, of course, wants Aaron Rodgers, and who wouldn't, by the way. By the way, just quick detour on the Woody Johnson thing. Like, all the people are saying, he's pulling all the strings. He wants Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, so does everyone. So, okay, Woody, one in the Woody column. He wants Aaron Rodgers, so does the rest of us, for that matter. But that's neither here nor there. But, yeah, I think they're going to try to push each other. I could see it happening, obviously, as we talked about, by the end of this week. But I don't think the only way it doesn't happen is Joe Douglas refuses to pay. I think he will pay eventually. JD is the Kevin Costner in draft day. Yeah, James, that's a good point on YouTube. I shared a clip. It was on my Boy Green account. A couple weeks, a week and a half ago, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, something like that, where it was the trade negotiations at the end, you pancake eating motherfucker, like that line between Seattle and Joe Douglas. And you could pick who side you were on, whether the Seattle side or the Brown side. But yeah, like, you need him, like the quarterback that can save New York. Like, I switched a few of the lines around for like Jets related, how like I've got the keys to turn football around. Like, do you want it? And like, oh, it could help the salary cap because we're talking about the cost and stuff. But it's really an interesting fit. It's really a interesting fit in terms of the movie. Love it. I love that movie. Freaking love that movie. Celtic Jets. Come on, you Jets. Yeah, 100%. Let's make it happen. Let's see. Calais gets a ring with us. Yes, that would be incredibly attractive. I would think. So he could 100% get a ring with us. Shen, it's Bills or Jets, I think. Yeah, I would say as well. Again, Calais did the Jacksonville thing already. He was a big free agent splash back in the day, a couple of years ago. And then Falcons, let me just double check. The one thing I don't know is that I did not know is Calais like born in Atlanta or something. No, he's born in Denver, Colorado. So I see no connection to the Falcons that jumps out to me. Born in Denver. Oh, he went to college in Miami. So that's in the ballpark, I guess. But I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of reaching there. So I don't really know what the interest on his side is with the Falcons, but, different strokes, different folks. I'm trying to think of the coaches on that staff maybe. But no, I do think ultimately it comes down to Bills or Jets unless some surprise team jumps into the mix. The Ravens apparently were still interested. But if I was Calais and the Ravens cut me and then they're like, we want you back, and I'm like, screw you. I got other offers, man. But Ty Rapp, Bills going third in the division next year. Yeah, I would just say that the Bills are losing, the Bills are losing pieces. Tremaine Edmonds goes to Chicago on that big deal. I'm trying to think of some others, but they get Jordan Poyer back and some other stuff, but everyone's saying, oh, the Bills are just going to be better. Let's see. Maybe they trade for DeAndre Hopkins. That changed my mind. Or, they're bringing Damian Harris in exchange for Devin Singletary. That doesn't move the needle. Whoa, watch out for Buffalo. They've been there a couple of years, but haven't gotten over the hump. So what suddenly is clicking this year? So, Buffalo, get ready for some battles, man. Okay, let's go through a couple of these. Outside the echo chamber, have you noticed a drop in viewership with Zach Wilson being featured less? I'm assuming you're talking about my YouTube videos, and no, I don't think so. Although I will say, just kind of in general, we did a video on Zach Wilson earlier today, and that's the other bit of news. You guys can check out that full video on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/boygreen25. But the big news, and I had an article about it, they were together, is Brian Costello reported that Zach Wilson and Aaron Rodgers have been talking recently now. That they've been talking and have a relationship, past the biscuits. We all knew that. But them talking during this trade discussion, that's new. And also with that, he talked to Brian Costello on the View podcast. It's not the View. It's the Crew, excuse me. The Crew with Josina Anderson. He talked about how there's a great relationship there, even with all this trade stuff going on. Because, again, that could be potentially awkward, obviously. If you bring in a Derek Carr or Jimmy Garoppolo who's 31, that Zach Wilson thing may not work out. With Aaron Rodgers at 39 and contemplating retirement seemingly on a yearly basis, Zach Wilson could probably sell himself on that, and also being the former number 2 overall pick in the draft, saying, oh, I could get my chance in a year. So, no, I haven't on YouTube. We've got great support. Unless you're asking about something else outside, then feel free to share, and I'll try to get back to it. But no. Rico the Pup, Calais, a DT in the draft, our interior defense line is good to go. Yeah, we got Saleh back. We re-signed him. We have Quinnen. Calais would be great. And then another interior defense lineman at some point. Yeah, that'd be pretty good, although they may run a little deeper than that with one more body. We'll have to see. But that'd be a good position. Good position. I'd really like that. Ty Rapp, what's your prediction for AFC East if we get A-Rod and Campbell? Division rankings, I think the Jets can win the AFC, so I'll put them at first, whatever. We'll get into the records and all that when the schedule drops in May, but, let's say, I don't know, 13-4, I think that would be the record. So 13-4, and then Jets. Bills, I'd still put them at second. I won't go third. Maybe that was you earlier, Tyler said that. So Bills, second at, 11-6. Dolphins third at, 9-8. And then the Patriots, oh boy. There could be some problems in New England. It could be a 7-10 season, maybe. I don't know if the floor completely falls out, but not great. YouTube Super Chat, really appreciate this, Donald. Means the world, brother. I appreciate you keeping the lights on. So would this trade deal for Aaron Rodgers take most of DEF? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Donald, so I'll need a clarification on what you mean by that. But, I'll just give you what I believe the package is going to be. I think it's going to be 42 or 43, one of the two. If I'm the Jets, I go 43. And then I think it's a mid-rounder next year. That's conditional. Or mid-rounder in 2025 that's conditional. Again, it's playing time incentives, team incentives, does he return, stuff like that. And then you could throw in a Corey Davis, a Denzel Mims, that kind of package. Center Ben Johnson. Yes, the Jets are interested in that, Gary. They are interested. They've had talks with this camp. We'll see. Maybe it's a double dip, Ben Johnson and draft pick, and kind of stock yourself up. That would be smart. Greg Connor, do you think CJ will get utilized better this season? Whether I would assume Uzama, but yes, yeah. I mean, with how they restructure the contract, I believe both CJ and Tyler Conklin are in for some big runs, contract wise, for sure. Let's see. Let me go back to Donald here. Defense is what I was saying. So let me go back up to your super chat to try to understand what your question is, Donald. Sorry. So would this trade deal for Aaron Rodgers take most of defense? Like trade-wise? No, I don't think they're trading any defenders. Like the Jermaine Johnson stuff is garbage. That's not happening. So no, I don't believe so, Donald. Good question. Good question. But no, I don't think it's going to be something crazy like that. I'm not sure if I fully understand the question still, but DY real quick. Boy Green, we need to look at running back also. We should be more aggressive in the Kareem Hunt pursuit. I couldn't agree more. Breece Hall torn ACL. So in week 7, that was in late October. And then from what isn't this funny? Not funny, I guess. But I tore my ACL, completely tore it. It's ruptured and tore my meniscus or hurt my meniscus as well. Just found this out a day or two ago. And from a Taekwondo injury. So I've just been told all the rehab stuff for me, and I'm not a super NFL athlete, but I'm an athlete in terms of doing Taekwondo on a day-to-day basis. And from what they say, it's going to be 8 to 12 months minimum and all this other stuff. So if you put that same line of time from October to that, and that's not even talking about surgery. My surgery is going to be delayed too for swelling, the same kind of thing that happened with Breece, where his surgery was delayed. So, man, I don't know. People inside the building that I talked to with the Jets say, he'll be ready for week 1. People outside the building say, I don't think so. Like, and if he's ready for week 1, it ain't 100%. Like, they're going to be cautious. So if you factor all that in, then you have Michael Carter, who's coming off a crap year. Let's be honest. Ty Johnson re-signed. Okay. And then you have Zonovan Bayham-Knight, who, let's be honest, he had the great Bears game, but he kind of fizzled at the end of the year. Was that offensive line? Was that him? I don't know. So, yeah, we need another body in there, a significant body. I'd be all for Kareem Hunt, which, by the way, the Jets did call the Browns about Kareem Hunt last year. So, interesting is what I'll say. All right, let's go with a couple rapid fire that we're getting out of here. Let's see. Are we still interested in OBJ? Yes. They would like him to replace Elijah Moore from what I hear. So, yes, 100%. Zach was taking Rodgers' Starbucks order. Yeah, not good. Although they will do that as well. Ragnar Jet. Paul, did you see the Mecole Hardman highlights? Insane fire. Will increase everyone's game. Wilson opening up Lazard, Hardman, vice versa. Yes, I did on the Jets YouTube channel. They do great work. I did see that. I'm excited. He scored in 4 different ways in his career. Receiving, punt return, kick return, and rushing. He is dynamic. I love it. Geo, with all the A-Rod waiting, any news on Quinnen's extension? No, and it's because, quite frankly, of kind of the Aaron Rodgers stuff. Because their mind's all wrapped around that, they can't even think about Quinnen until after this to set up the cap appropriately. So, no news, which may make Quinnen angry. I don't know, but hey, it is what it is from that standpoint. They got to take care of this first. James, do you think the Jets get more primetime games like Thanksgiving Day at Dallas? 100%. They're getting the maximum. Spoiler alert. Again, the schedule comes out in May. 5 primetime games, the maximum you could get. And then after that, you could get flex. The Jets are getting 5. And the Cowboys game will 100% be primetime. Peter King called it one of the top 5 draws of the season. Is it actual Thanksgiving? Is it a primetime game at different point? I will be at that Dallas game. My dad's a diehard Cowboys fan. That's what we're setting up. So very possible. Yes, they're getting 5 primetime game max plus flex games. And Peter King projected 10 or 11 national games, which sometimes means the 425 national game of the week, which is America's game, not necessarily quote unquote primetime, but 10 or 11 national games. Get ready, folks. We're getting them. Hayton Nate, Boy Green, do you think Carl Lawson will bounce back this season? Yes, I do. Another year removed from the Achilles. I think he's going to explode. So I think he's going to be a key piece of the puzzle. The Jets haven't done anything with his contract yet, whether mini extension or anything. That I don't think he's part of the Aaron Rodgers trade. I would be surprised. Let's go back to this one, Don, because you sent the YouTube super chat. Well, I was basically saying I had to cut it short so I could figure it all in, so I could fit it all in. But will we have to give up most of our defense to the Packers for Aaron Rodgers? Absolutely not, Donald. No, None of the defense. Maybe the only pieces that go in, again, here are the potential floating players, and then we'll sign off here. The floating players are Corey Davis, Denzel Mims, maybe Carl Lawson, but I don't know, man. I don't think so. So no, none of the key defenders. No Sauce, no Jermaine, no one. No, absolutely not. Players that are floating in right now that could be involved, Jeremy Ruckert, Denzel Mims, Corey Davis, stuff like that. So no, Donald on that. Okay. Rico the Pup. I'll answer a couple of these ACL ones, and we'll sign off, and we'll be back on later. Oh man, that sucks. Sorry to hear about that, Boy Green. They'll let you know when you could get back to doing physical activity. We won't know until after surgery. So fingers crossed there. I've got a surgery pre-op meeting the 20th, which is a week out from the NFL draft. So we'll see where we're at that point. But not good. Greg, is Elliott out now? We've had a few different reports come out that Ezekiel Elliott, apparently that was his wish list, not really what teams felt about him. TBD. Although I would love a running back. Zeke would be great from that perspective. And finally, last question here. DY, Boy Green, how does the knee feel walking around? Can you move on it? I can. So that's kind of a weird perception, right? You think, for my specific scenario, my ACL is completely destroyed and ruptured. That's how it was explained to me. And meniscus damage. So you would think when you hear stuff like that you're like, oh my God, you must have one leg. No, I can walk straight. It's pivoting, twisting, pivoting, all those kind of normal movements that people do. I can't do any of that. So I wear a knee brace. I started with crutches. After the surgery, I have to do wheelchair and some of that other action for all that. But I can move on it. So it'll be cool. I'll go on this journey, I guess, with Breece Hall, and we'll figure it all out together. So that was a little crazy. Guys, thanks for joining us for this quick 30-minute live stream here. Like I said, make sure you like the video, hit subscribe down below for more juicy content. To wrap it up with the same quote that we started it with, Judy Batista talking to New York Jets head coach Robert Saleh at the NFL owners meetings that started today and run through the 29th. She asked him about Aaron Rodgers saying he intends to play for the Jets. What's your thoughts, Robert Saleh? Quote, 2 years ago when we first got there, just thinking about where we were and how far we've come, to have a guy like him want to play for us is pretty cool. Shows how far we've come, and I hope all you Jet fans truly appreciate that. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, or what's left.